It's going to be my Green Bay Packers versus Vish's rival Rams. He's a Niners fan. I think you all know that. But what are your thoughts when this game came up? And who do you think's going to win? I guess we get to that at the end.
Yeah, I can say right off the bat, I fully expect the Green Bay Packers to win this game, and it's because of one reason and one reason only. They have Aaron Rodgers, and the Los Angeles Rams have John Wolford or Jared Goff. But on paper, actually, I think this matchup actually favors the Los Angeles Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Look, the Green Bay Packers are playing better football on defense and
they have in a long time.
But from a talent perspective, it's not that much better. It's just that Rodgers is more comfortable with LaFleur. LaFleur is calling a great game. It feels like what they're calling a lot more stuff from 2016, what Kyle Shanahan was running. They're throwing the ball down the field, and Rodgers is just locked in, and Davante Adams is playing out of his mind. But on paper, the Rams matchup, look, the Green Bay Packers, though their defense has had moments of playing a lot better, they're still small up front with their defensive line. Their linebackers still aren't great. Their secondary, I still think Darnell Savage can be picked on. I think he does a couple things well, but I think he gets lost certain times in coverage, playing certain roles. I think he can be picked on. And I still think they can be had running the football. I think McVay's a lot more creative than Arthur Smith, who has 2-3 runs only, and Derrick Henry is so good at executing them. And I think McVay could run the ball with Cam Akers. So on paper, that's an advantage for the Rams. Their big problem is that Goff is their quarterback. He's super underwhelming. Wolford's a backup, though, pretty athletic and seems to be a guy that McVay likes. And then on defense, the Packers offense should technically struggle versus Rams defense. If Aaron Donald plays without David Bakhtiari, I think they're going to struggle to block those four. Brandon Staley is super creative. And what the Rams can do is the Rams' big thing is that they can stop the run by playing a split safety alignment, which is hard to do in the NFL. But the Rams do it really well. And what they could do is they could just lock Ramsey on one side. It doesn't have to be on Davante Adams, just because you don't need to give Ramsey safety help for anybody. So you could lock him, even if it's Marquez Valdez-Scantling, you could just lock him on that side and then play zone everywhere else. And if you're rushing 4 and you can get pressure with 4 and you're dropping 7 where one guy takes away an entire half of the field, basically you have 6 guys kind of scrunched up in a small area trying to affect their pass game. So I think on paper, the Rams got a really good chance with this matchup. I just think the Packers will win because they have Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, so one of the comments is Ramsey versus Adams, and this is my thing that I just really want to watch because we've seen Ramsey shut down DK. We've seen him shut down Hopkins. I don't think DK's to the level of either of those guys yet. He'll probably be there soon. He has the potential to be at the minimum. But I'm excited to see Adams, who I think is the best receiver in the league right now. I think he proved it this year. 18 touchdowns, and he missed 2.5 games. That's ridiculous. Aaron Rodgers is going to win the MVP. I think that's a foregone conclusion as of right now. And the rest of the team is, they're starting to gel a lot better in LaFleur's second year. They had moments last year where, and even this year too, where they would go crazy in the first half and they'd score 3 times in a row, and then they just wouldn't do anything. And they had that a couple times this year even too. Against the Vikings, they lost. Against the Colts, second half, they couldn't really manufacture much. But the thing in those games was the offense for the other team was kind of beating up on our defense and having longer drives. While in this case, I'm not really that scared of Jared Goff, and I think Jair's going to do pretty solid on – I'd imagine he'd guard Woods. Kupp's more of a slot guy, and Jair plays on the outside. But
Kupp might not play.
Kupp
might not play.
Oh, he'll probably play, I thought, right? He was his participation's been limited, right?
Yeah, he didn't practice on Wednesday, so we'll see.
But the Packers can still – I think they'll be able to run the ball decently well. The biggest loss for them right now is Bakhtiari, and Billy Turner played left tackle last game against Mac, and he did just good enough to where Rodgers didn't get killed, but there was times where Rodgers bailed him out, right? Like whether it's just quick passes or that pass to MVS down the middle where they saw Trevathan pinching in and stuff like that, but that's not always going to be available. Like he's not always going to be able to bail you out like that. And right now our left guard is Lucas Patrick, and Aaron Donald's going to be lining up over him the whole game. So that's pretty scary. What?
He lines up on the other side.
Well,
Lucas Patrick will see Brockers.
I'd imagine Donald will go over who's ever the weakest
True.
link. I mean, he can play anywhere on the D line.
Right. True. My apologies. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's all good. But I think that'll be the biggest thing is Aaron Donald going to be able to actually get blocked and double teamed efficiently? Because they do have Leonard Floyd, who for some reason, like, he was pretty underwhelming on the Bears, but he hates the he hates the Packers. He pops off against us. I feel like he gets a sack every time. And it's for no good reason. Like, the dude will have 5 sacks in a year, and 3 of them are come against the Packers. So I don't know. He just hates the Packers with a burning passion. Always plays well against them. Brockers is good. They get good production from other guys on their D line. They have really good safeties. John Johnson, Pro Bowl snub possibly. My thing with them is they just don't have that elite linebacker yet, and I think we'll be able to run due to that, because when you look at their games they struggled to run, the Buccaneers that was the first thing, and they do have the best run defense, but one thing I think both of us saw is when they tried to go lateral and like beat him to the edge, Devin White and Vaunted David just blew Jones up in the backfield or for a minimal game, and the Rams do not have that just dynamic linebacker, so I think that'll be a huge thing in allowing us to run the ball, but I'm excited to see this game because on paper it should be a really, really close matchup.
Okay, so I think the point you made about the run game is fair. And wait, before I go again, who do you got winning this game? You got Green Bay? You sticking with your Packers?
I got my Packers. Come on now. We got Aaron Rodgers.
You ever picked against your Packers?
I have. Last year.
Yeah, I know you have.
Yeah, I have.
I know you have. But
not today.
I'm going with your Packers too. The one thing I will say about the run game is that I think the thing with the Rams is that they play a 3-4, right? And they play kind of a 5-man front. It's called an eagle front. But what that does is their linemen, who are so good at getting up the field, they dictate basically the gaps that the linebackers have to fit in and make tackles. So I don't think they really need special linebackers. They just need smart people who can diagnose where the D-line is going and find their gaps and fit them. So I think they can still do a good job in the run because of that. And I think the defensive line is the big deal. Like correct me if I'm wrong, but when Green Bay played Tampa, who's also a 3-4, Vita Vea played, right?
Yeah. I think he played most of it. I think he got injured that game, honestly.
Yeah, I think those big dudes really shut down the run because if you go Vita Vea, JPP, Shaq Barrett,
Buccaneers, like their run defense is just like leagues ahead of everybody else.
So yeah, you have those people, but I think ultimately, I think we can break down the Rams have the advantages here, and here. The Packers got I think he's back being the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't know if he ever left. He was not as good as. But that's because he set such a high standard for himself. And he's playing in an offense that's really QB friendly with a play caller who's really killing it right now. And so I think the coach and play caller, I think ultimately LaFleur and Rodgers because of that. I mean, you're lucky. You have Aaron Rodgers. Doesn't matter. You have Aaron Rodgers.
It was tough with McCarthy the last few years and seeing them just running 4 verticals every time. As much as I love seeing Rodgers get out the pocket and throw a back shoulder to Jordy, you just can't play offense like that. And we can talk about the Seahawks another time, but just quickly, I think that's what the Seahawks problem was this year is they just kept running 4 verticals and deep routes and their O-line can't hold up and whatnot. But that's a moot point. But yeah, end of line, I'm going Packers. This will be a really good match. I will say this will be a good matchup. Although it's 1 versus the 6 seed, the Rams showed out last week and they've been playing a lot better in December. But the Packers also have too, so it'll be a good game.
It's a Super Bowl level defense. It's just can Jared Goff make the two plays that he's going to have to make in the game?
I wouldn't say this is a defense like those 2017 Jags, like those 2018 Bears. If they
biggest problem, I know what you're going to say, and I know why you're going to say it because we've had this conversation before. It's about their inability to score, right? They don't score as much as those teams.
Not necessarily that. I just think they don't force the same amount of turnovers that those teams did because those teams forced turnovers like it was nothing. I think it was either the Bears or the Jags. One of them had over 40 turnovers, it
was the Bears.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And the Rams don't have that, but yeah, I mean, you saw them score last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
We could do this score prediction.
What you got?
I'm going Packers. I think they'll score 28, honestly. I think the Bills dropped over 30 and the Cardinals dropped over 30 on them. So I could see the Packers doing something similar. So I'm going to go 28, and I'm going 21 or 20 for the Rams.
You're going 28-21?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go 27-24 Packers.
Yeah, but I think we both think it'll be a close game, just due to how the teams are formulated. And it'll be in the cold weather. And Rodgers can play in the cold. Can Jared Goff, though, with his finger? Can Wolford with the stinger he had?